Hey there, welcome to ATL and 29, a podcast that looks at the NBA from the starting point of Atlanta. My name is Kevin Chenard. I'm here with Glenn Willis and Tyler Jones, and we're recording on a Tuesday night after a pair of Hawks preseason wins. What do you make of the shorthanded adventure versus Miami? What do you think,
Uh,
Tyler?
Um, well, I think the biggest takeaway is that but this was true in the first two games as well, is that uh if there's an injury, like I feel pretty confident that Nafali Dante can provide good minutes. I don't know if he can, I don't know if he's like a 20 plus per minute player, but like I think in a 10 to 15-minute role, he absolutely can provide positive value for the Hawks. And like if they had him last year, maybe they make it to the playoffs because it's weird to say they really didn't have that element of a big bodied center, especially when Capella went down and they never, really replaced him. For as good as uh Okongwu was, his backups were on the smaller side, except for and until Mo Gay was playing center a little bit. So like they never really they consistently struggled against bigger size teams. So it's good to have somebody like Nafali back. Even somebody like Charles Bassey. The I thought he was a little he can get a little out of control a little bit more than Dante, but I mean the athleticism and the raw physical tools are just there. And uh, honestly, that I would bring both of them unless they find somebody else to sign. Just that, I mean, just to have a trade piece. Like, if I'm the Charlotte Hornets, why haven't they? They should be like Charles Bassey would be starting for them right now. Like to me, so like that's just something. Like if I'm the Hawks, like, I would keep both of them and look for somebody to trade for one of them. Really need backup center help due to injuries or poor play. So that's what I'm looking at from a bird's eye view, at least there. I'm still concerned about the guard room outside of the guys in the rotation, but we can talk about that a little bit later.
Glenn, what do you think about the Heat game?
I mean, the thing that impressed me about both teams is that it's a preseason game. Both teams played hard every possession. I mean, it was just, it just kind of speaks to culture, and we know we know what the expectations are from the Heat. They have a high standard, high bar for play hard all the time and stuff like that. We could talk. I don't know if we take 3 minutes to talk about, is Norman Powell really going to work in the Miami offense? Is that really good? Is that going to work? He overpossesses the ball way more than Spo typically wants to see, and all that sort of stuff.
Glenn, I
I
don't
mean,
mean to cut you off here, but I actually I want to talk about this Norm Powell thing. Like I'm watching him and all I'm seeing is Terry Rozier 2.0.
yeah,
I'm seeing I'm like, for as little as they got Norm Powell for, and like everybody's praising the decision, I'm over here. I'm like, am I the only one that watched that the second that James Harden wasn't setting up every possession of his, that he just instantly becomes useless for
yeah,
a good team?
yeah,
And so I'm like, I don't know what the Heat are trying to build here.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and they don't really have a point. I mean, Hero's not a point guard. I mean, um, Davion's like fun to watch on defense, but he's got offensive limitations. So I mean, it is interesting to watch them. And I mean, I think the way Spo deploys Ware and Bam together is super interesting. I think that's really interesting to me, and stuff. But yeah, I mean, for me, like the guy, I mean, I don't know, exaggerate my affinity for Jacob Toppin maybe a little bit. I have fun with it, But the guy I enjoyed watching play defense was Lamont Butler. I mean, he was just a bulldog. Like the whole, I mean, he put the ball in front of him, he attacks it, he created that steal that created the possession that got them into overtime. He was just really impressive. And yeah, I mean, you watch him play and you're like, okay, offensively, he doesn't have an NBA game, but still like the mentality Quinn wants is like just attack, just to keep attacking. And even though he's not a great shooter, he just kept attacking and attacking and attacking. And I mean, I know he's, person number 17, 18 on this current roster, or whatever, where we want to stack him. But that dude play defense. I mean, seriously play defense. I was impressed with Bassey. Bassey was very active on the glass, and when the Hawks were struggling to rebound, like middle of the fourth quarter, Quinn turned back to him to get him on the court to help. And they went bigger with um, Bassey and Toppin, and I forget who they had playing the four at the time, but maybe Asa. Well, Asa
Probably
eventually
Asa.
became
There's
the
a lot
close
of
lead.
Asa, yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that. But no, Butler impressed me a lot. I mean, there's a lot of Keaton point guard, which I mean, you can kind of see the limitations of that. Even I mean, we could say the Heat were playing their 9 rotation guys the first 3 quarters, plus a few minutes in the fourth quarter. I mean, I think I just go back to in the summer league. Toppin would say the word he uses is confidence, and then media day he used the word confidence. And when you watch him play, especially in person, he is very confident in his ability to kind of do things, and so it's just interesting to see his development there. So I mean, for the Hawks to play there, I don't know, we'll say ninth through 16th or 17th guys, whatever, and to win that game says a lot about buy-in, culture, effort, competitiveness, all and to me that's what kind of jumped out to me in that game was just their willingness to. You're looking up at the score, they're like a minute 45 left or whatever it was, they're down 7. No one's freaking out. They just put their head down and go to work, and kind of get back, to a tie game. And I thought it was a fun game to watch.
I I think Butler was better on offense maybe than like skill wise, maybe he doesn't have an NBA game, but
Yeah,
I feel like he was collapsing the defense like over and over and over again. Like he
agree with that.
constantly
Yeah,
got in the paint like that. And if you do that, and he made like a few mistakes, but given the amount of times that he was in the paint, forcing the team, forcing the opposing defense to react to him, I thought, the Hawks got good value out of that. Like even on, I think the game winner, right? Caleb Houston, like he
yeah.
drove, he just made the simple pass to the guy who was kind of behind him at the elbow, and I just think there was a lot of value in that. The Hawks in the second half rode that. I'm not sure that they get enough of that from their other, backup point options. And I thought that was really interesting to see that, he constantly made the defense react to him and he didn't have any reps. Like they signed him at 3 o'clock. Like he didn't get to play with any of these guys. He might have played with them at summer league and he might have played with them in September, but he didn't, since camp has started, I don't think he's allowed to be in the gym. I don't think he's in practice with these guys. He just kind of had to get out there and wing it, and I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, Lamont was he played with a pace and like a purpose on offense in ways that the Hawks aren't weren't getting from Keaton Wallace or V. Krejci. For and like part of that is that neither of those guys I listed are point guards. Like Lamont Butler is a for real point guard. He knows how to run an NBA offense. Um, so that I mean that's just an interesting point, and I feel like the Hawks know this at the same time. Like they know V. Krejci and Keaton Wallace. Like their best skill isn't on ball creation, point guard options. I I think, and based on what I saw from the Grizzlies game in particular, I think we're going to see Jalen Johnson just be the point guard
Yeah.
for even when Trey's on the floor. Like and so like I kind of, I was at the game and one like very first possession, I was stunned because I didn't realize this that the Grizzlies were trying to guard Jalen Johnson with Kentavious Caldwell Pope, and like the whole time, like from that very start, I was like, oh, the Grizzlies have no chance here, like no shot. He is just going to walk KCP under the rim, and get an open and like the first three possessions, open corner three, open corner three, open corner three. Jalen Johnson just driving to the rim and like he's basically playing point guard. So like I think part of why where we can be like, if who's the backup point guard, who's the backup point guard. I think with how the Hawks, especially with the spacing Porzingis provides, I mean, the Grizzlies tried to press up on Jalen, and like the second he gets by his man, because Porzingis is like a real 3-point threat, you have to acknowledge there's no rim protection. So he's just getting under the rim and finishing through smaller guys. I'm like, this is how you this is how you go from being a top 40 guy, give or take in the league, to being somebody who can make an all NBA team. Like if what I'm seeing from Jalen is legit, particularly on offense, and his improved handle, like I feel like his handle's a lot tighter, and he's just like guys can't get the ball from him, and then he's just going right by him. If he's able to do this in the regular season with the space that the Hawks are going to provide him, like he's going to have a shot to be an All NBA count, like make an All NBA team to me, beyond just being an All Star, because it's just going to be layup after layup for him. Like it's or he's going to collapse the defense and get open corner threes for elite 3-point shooters. So that's where I'm like, I got to see more of this from Jalen, but I can't stress how impressed I've been with his game on both ends, really, but particularly on offense.
Do you think that's the way it's going to go, Glenn?
I think it's gonna be a little bit matchup based, but so last year when Trey was off and before they added shooting the trade deadline, I think it was very hard for Jalen just to look at the lane with four guys in it, all the time and no path to getting there. And so I just thought that was a tough task. I thought Dyson's um, he's actually a guard, so he kind of came along a little bit in that sense. But I think before Jalen went down the injury, it was just kind of interesting to see them try to run pick and roll, middle pick and roll, slot pick and roll, all that sort of stuff with Jalen. But other teams have just like, there's no shooting on the floor. We can kind of all pull into the paint here. And to Tyler's point, it's a completely different thing this year. Like KP is going to pull the other center out or the power forward, depending if there's a cross match. Okongwu, is not, I mean, not nearly the shooter KP is, but he'll make it over corner three, and he added them up above the break three last year, so that's interesting to me as well. Um,
But Glenn, the Congo point, I kind of want to harp on this a little bit. It's his shot release that's more important. It's his willingness to shoot the ball.
yep, yep.
Speed at which he shoots it forces the closeout, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Like the
and creates an offensive rebound opportunity.
exactly.
There are residual benefit that comes from that. So I think you're exactly right, Tyler, on that point. And it's just watching the Hawks play last night. Like even Bassey, like when he had a wide open three, I mean he's not a 3-point shooter. He took it. He put it up. That's the principle of the offense. And that was interesting to watch and kind of fun to watch. But I mean, they were like ferocious on defense. I mean, just and things started. They got tired in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Heat put fresh guys on in the fourth quarter. Like they took the rotation guys and took them off the floor. And they had guys who hadn't played at all. And the Hawks had guys who were in the 30 to 32 to 34 to 36 minute kind of range on their side. And you could see them get a little tired, and that showed up in that way. But they kept competing and they kept working and they kept fighting, and things like that. And I think that's what Quinn is looking for. It's like if you're tired, you're still trying, working hard. Um, but the other guy I enjoyed watching last night, I thought, I mean, Asa missed all those 3-pointers. I don't care. When he was open, he let it fly. That's step number one there. But he was really good getting to the rim. He's playing against actual experience, like him trying to go against Bam. I mean, Bam's a grown man, total grown man, kind of body. But like Ace didn't stop trying to get to the rim, just trying to get to the rim and trying to get to the rim. Ace is going to be good. I mean, this is largely maybe a developmental season for him, but it wouldn't surprise me if, come February or whatever, like he's kind of pushing for some actual playing time and some opportunity. But Asa was a lot of fun to watch last night, and you can just see he knows what he's doing. The body's not quite there yet, and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, just you can see the Quinn principles of attack the rim, get paint touches, kick it out, all that sort of stuff. and everybody was doing it, and that was just for me to watch a I don't know second and a half string to third and a half string, or however you want to talk about what was the level of play that the Hawks were throwing out there. Everybody did what Quinn wanted. Everybody did what Quinn wants. Touch the paint, kick it out, move the ball. Somebody gets stuck, brush screen, and drag a defender out of the primary ball handler's area. Those principles are so visible, to what they're doing, and they did that. Oh, I mean, I don't know how many times Houston like would see somebody stuck at the slot, the 3 point break, and he would just kind of run to the corner and make the defense kind of account for him getting to the corner and create a little space in the middle of the floor. Those principles, I mean, it's just I think that sometimes things that are hard to see on TV because the angle you're getting or whatever. Well, when you're watching it live and you see someone's in trouble, if I cut here, I'm going to take some pressure off the ball handler. Um, that was it was impressive.
There was one play with Asa where Veet did a good job. Like Veet had somebody big down low, and the ball was on the other side of the floor, and Veet kind of set Asa up with a scram switch. But I swear it was like this the scram switch itself was kind of quick. Like Asa kind of got into position. They kind of switched sides really quickly. But Veet must have like read like two paragraphs to him. He was whispering in his ear for like 8 seconds. Like I don't know what he was telling him, but he was giving Asa all kinds of information on what was going to come next. Like I've never seen one player like whisper in another player's ear for like 7 seconds, but he was trying to make sure that Asa was ready, and I I do think they got to stop on that possession. But like Asa's like I thought he did pretty well on Bam. I
Yeah,
think the thing that he's really got the you know I anticipate that it might be something that lingers a little bit longer, but he's got to get a little bit better at defending guards. He's 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 not staying with them with his quickness, but he's also just not standing them up. Like it's just he's getting turned around too fast, and then not able to use any kind of strength because he's 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 losing on the first step, and he's just not strong enough to you know get any additional leverage
yeah,
to. So it just looks like it's still going to be a struggle for him when he's guarding smalls until the technique gets better, so that he's not losing on that first step, and the strength gets better, so that if he gets any kind of foothold with trying to stay with them, that it's going to be something other than they go into his body and he gets stuck with a foul.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting at the NBA level, something that's different than college is, I mean, guards like use the in out, they use the crossover, they set you up, they get you off. I mean, the level of development that guards have at the NBA level to kind of recognize how to get you off on the wrong foot, get you, half step off from where you need to be, and then just as soon as you're half step off balance, they're gone. And that's reps. That's reps. That's practice. This is something you might see five guys in your college career that have I don't know 70% of that, but NBA level like guards like even like average guards know how to get you off balance and get by you, and so to me it's just kind of a matter of reps and experience.
What went right in that third quarter in the Memphis game where it just seemed like the Hawks could almost get to the rim at will, but not it wasn't like when I say get to the rim at will, it wasn't like one play over and over again, but it just seemed like every time they had the right option, the right pass, the right cut. What what was going on there in that third quarter versus Memphis? Because it was really impressive, but it just felt like every play was a little bit different.
Yeah, Memphis will overload the strong side, right? That's one thing, and that gives you a lot of room on the weak side. And when you don't have Jaren Jackson Jr., you have to overload the strong side more than you do if you have him. And those things. So I think a lot of it was that Memphis was playing kind of smaller lineups, and needing more bodies on the strong side. And the Hawks are smart to like realize like, oh, they're over tilted towards the strong side. We can get a cut, we can get a lob, we can get a back screen, we can get this and that. And so for me, I think part of it was just a personnel challenge that the Grizzlies had to kind of work through. on that side of things. And they're going into the season with some like Jaw's going to miss time, Jaren's going to miss time. So the two of their two best players, presumably, right there, and stuff. So I think a lot of it was just their coach trying to kind of figure out how to show bodies in the right space in the right place and stuff like that. But I mean, this is you're Quinn bringing in like actual veteran players, and I know Quinn will still say we're the third youngest team in the league. I'm like, but you still have veterans up and down your rotation at the same time as well. But I think that this is undermanned from an injury standpoint going in, and have to kind of load up on the strong side. And when that happens, if you can rotate the ball quickly enough, pass one, pass two, all of a sudden everybody's scrambling. You can attack a defense that's in rotation. And I thought the Hawks did a great job of just kind of putting them in rotation, attacking them before they could get coverage to the weak side.
They also in the third quarter, correct me if I'm wrong, they put Porzingis in the corner, and like they, Porzingis is really tall, and so when Porzingis is in the corner, and the guy who's closing out to him isn't tall enough to challenge the shot, it's like it's an easy play. Like it's an easy play to run. You just throw him the ball, and he just shoots over the top of the guy, and it's the shortest 3-pointer he's going to take in his on the NBA floor, and he's like near automatic from over there. So that also like Porzingis in the corner has consistently been pretty lethal. He's gotten a couple like good lobs off of short rolls from either Jalen or Onyeka, combined with like he has a quick trigger from there. So like it's a real problem for teams like in the Hawks. I think they can put Porzingis in the corner. One, because Jalen is healthy, and two, you also have a Kongu as well. So like you can afford for Porzingis to be the last man back defense if he misses a shot or there's a transition opportunity as well. So I just think I think a lot seeing overall with these starters is the boon of playing with somebody of Porzingis' talent. It's just like he makes the life a lot easier for everybody on offense. And so that's where I'm like, this team has a real chance, especially if, like I said, if what we're seeing from Jalen is legit, with how well Porzingis looks next to Trey. Like Trey and Porzingis look like they've been playing with each other forever. He's finding him in these like pockets of space in the mid range, and Porzingis just takes the jump shot, and it's a layup for him. And I'm like, man, this is going to cut down on so many turnovers. Like it's going to cut down on so many of Trey's like drives without a plan to the rim, where if he doesn't get fouled, it's going to be a brick. Like I think we're going to see a more deliberate offense, but a more efficient offense, at least in the half court. They want to get out in transition, but I'm talking exclusive when they're in the half court and Porzingis is in the game. Porzingis allows them to explore options in ways they couldn't in years prior, where it was just literally Trey figure it out. Now it's like, okay, Trey, you don't even have to bring the ball to the floor. Jalen, you can do it. And then Jalen, you don't have something. All right, we'll get it to Trey on a down screen. Let's go to work from there. So like I just think with the weapons they have, with how much better it seems like a lot of guys have gotten over the summer, like I just think it's just looking like the Hawks are going to be really good. I mean, we thought on paper the Hawks were going to be good. It's good to see in practice that they look as good as we thought they could be.
Yeah, the fun thing for me is like you saw a play where like 1-4 middle pick and roll, Porzingis in the corner, which is kind of like Porzingis is a three-level scorer for a center, right? He can hit the midi or whatever, but you pull way in, you got the lob behind the defense. You try to stay home on that side. He can knock down the corner three. But you got Jalen short rolling towards the nail, through the nail, and just collapsing the whole defense. And Porzingis can get to the rim if everybody's pulled up towards the nail. He can get to the rim if everyone's trying to stay baseline and kind of keep the ball kind of walled off, he could hit it's that's just I mean, you guys know how I feel like Capella. I think the Hawks made the right decision to kind of move towards a more Trey friendly front court room for sure. That was a great move and smart and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, Porzingis' ability to hit a little 14-footer on the baseline, if that's the right shot, to stay in the corner and hit that corner three, if that's the right shot, where everybody pulls in to get to the rim, and he has so much like length, like you can't really keep him kind of off the rim. And that's just gonna, to me, like what I value is that simplifies the decision making for Jalen, a ton, and I think that's what's exciting to me about. I mean, I'm just praying for Jalen health the whole season because I know we all want to watch him have a full season of kind of growing into the things that we all believe that he could be. I just think Porzingis takes so much pressure off of him. Just takes so much pressure off of him. I mean, Congo too. Congo's a reliable corner three guy, and all that sort of stuff. But like trying to keep Porzingis off the rim if you have to pull two bodies towards Jalen to kind of keep him from getting below the nail, good luck.
I mean, but also you can trust Porzingis and Okongwu to dribble the ball. Like I
Mhm.
know this sounds simple, but like a couple times
And
Porzingis
pass it.
just brought the ball and pass it, and make the right reads, and get the Hawks into the flow of their offense faster, so that they can attack mismatches quicker, so that they can catch defenses, you know, behind the eight ball, basically. Just the simple action of your center being able to bring the ball up the floor. It doesn't even have to be quickly, but just because he has to do that, he has eyes on him. It allows for other guys to get into their sets and actually you can trust him to make the right read from there. Is going to be like for both him and a Kongwu, and it's just going to be massive for this team. Like they got a couple. Like I know in the Grizzlies game in particular, like Porzingis just threw the ball ahead to Ricochet on the break, and like you know, easy offense. You don't have to hard scrabble for an offensive possession. In the half court where Trey's getting trapped, high trapped, and he's dealing with all this pressure. He's dealing with the best perimeter defender on the team, and he has to navigate, th- three or four bodies to get like a good shot for his teammates. If it can just be a simple drive and kick, that's gonna cut the turnovers. It's gonna increase the um honestly, the rim pressure, something the Hawks have not had consistently, outside of Trey Young. Like if they're able to play like this, I think with all the passing boon that they're getting from their centers, from their front court in general. I mean, we saw it a little bit with Mo Gay even um, at the end of the Grizzlies game. Like it's just like this makes when everybody's able to dribble past the shoe. I know this is the old Schlenk formula, but like this is the team that Schlenk wanted. Like offense, this is the team that Schlenk wanted. He wanted guys who can all dribble, pass, and shoot around Trey Young, so that when it's go, so that Trey has enough juice at the end of the game where it's like Trey, we need some magic here. He's fresh. Like you can't just pressure Trey. Like teams are gonna pressure Trey 94 feet. All right, somebody else bring the ball up. You gonna do that to Jalen? You gonna do that to Dyson Daniels? You're gonna have your worst defender pressure Dyson Daniels up the floor, so he gets right by him, draws to help. I hope you're not helping off Porzingis or Ricochet in the corner. I just think I think this the way the Hawks are gonna play. It's added, like it's just a bunch of additives on top of each other, and it's going to lead to, I really think, an elite offense to me. Like
Yeah.
I would be to me. I know there've been some hesitancy to say that, but I find it hard to not believe this Hawks offense is going to be elite if everybody stays
Yeah.
healthy.
And the levers Quinn has this year, he did not have last year, right? Oh, you want a double Trey in the backcourt? I'm going to throw Kennard and Nicola Alexander Walker and Porzingis. I'm just going to spam shooters on the floor. Maybe Jalen's bringing it up. You got Kennard in one corner, Porzingis in another corner. Have fun, guys. It's just that was not a thing last year at all, right? I mean, you put Niang in the corner, and he's obviously a great shooter, and maybe Garrison Math, but this is a completely different thing. Oh, you want to trap Trey at 94 feet? We're gonna play 4-on-3. Thank you very much.
I need to be the pessimist again. I know that Glenn used the phrase tray friendly center, I think, when talking about Porzingis. What do you want to see in terms of both technique and maybe in terms of how Quinn lines up his players defensively 1 through 5 on a typical team so that you get the most or the best out of pick and roll defense when teams are trying to get both Trey and Kristaps in the same pick and roll possession? How do you,
I'm
where can you hide a
haven't
player to make it work? And, once you've
no
done that, how do you try to cover up as best you can?
this is a great point because I it was pretty noticeable in the Grizzlies games. Like it literally didn't matter who Trey was guarding. The Grizzlies were putting Trey in, having him and Porzingis' man run pick and roll. And so like it was a bunch of KCP uh running that action. And the whole time I'm watching the game, I'm sitting there, I'm like, hey, look, it's a little too easy for KCP to be able to dribble the ball right here. And so like to me, it's going to be like if Trey is going to guard the worst offensive player, possibly with the weakest handle, he's got to be a better defensive player. Like he just has to get into guys' chest and he's got to screens and he has to compete. Like there's no because like all like they're isolating them and like there's no way for the other guy. The other guys are guarding the good offensive players. They're not going to help off of their man so that you because you're struggling with Pat Spencer coming off this screen. Like respect the Pat Spencer or whichever Spencer brother it was. I forget who plays for the Grizzlies. How do we camp? But respect to him, but like Tracy's got to compete. Like that, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. And because Porzingis is not going to uh come up the floor. Like he's only going to get up there so far. And so like Trey's just got to be tougher. Like I mean, especially considering the caliber of offensive player he's often going up against. He's got to be like, all right, you guys want to run all these actions for your worst offensive player. Like to me, ultimately, that's a win for the Hawks. By the way, like if they're going out of their way to attack Trey with their worst offensive player, like at some point, I saw it in the Grizzlies game. KCP's handle just fails him. Like he's just not a good enough ball handler for all this. So that's where it's just like Trey's got to be an NBA player. Like he's got to be an NBA caliber defender and force these guys off their spots and then trust his teammates are going to have his back if when he's doing his job. If he's not doing his job, like a big reason why they're getting up a lot of these offensive rebounds because they're caught in rotations too often and they're out of position. Like, so they do need to clean that up. And that's where the big bugaboo is. So it'll be interesting also to see, how Quinn manages his rotations based on these weaknesses that they have. Because again, Porzingis is slow footed, and Trey is your weakest perimeter defender. Of course, every team's going to attack that. So it's going to be on, it's going to be on. Really, it's going to be to me. It's going to be on Trey to figure something out here. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think he's done a okay job at it in the preseason, but it's the preseason. We'll see how we'll see how the regular season goes and regular season intensity, how he responds to that.
Yeah, I thought in that Memphis game he started kind of slow in that regard and gradually picked up his intensity trying to get over screens as the game wore on. And I thought he did pretty well in some other aspects defensively too, like when he wasn't necessarily trying to defend in pick and roll. I thought he, had some good situational defensive plays, but it's
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's going to be on the menu. Teams are going to be looking for this.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll try to be short of it. It can be so situational, right? It can be how good of a ball handler and creator is the guy who has the ball? Do I need to show on him to stop him to keep it? Is he weak enough? I could just stay clear of the screen and give Dyson space or give Nicola example. It is very situationally dependent
Sure.
on those things, and that's a high level of defensive processing. And I have no qualms about Trey being able to kind of process information at all,
Sure.
but it really does come down to, oh, this is your tertiary creator with the ball. I can just stay out of the way and let the primary point of attack defender kind of clear the screen, or like, no, this is a high level creator, and if I don't show for a second and a half and let my guy kind of navigate the screen, then he's in trouble. and so it really does kind of come down to reads and level of competency around creation and all that sort of stuff. Um, but I mean, it's nice they have more point of attack defense this year. But I mean, it can almost be possession by possession, like, oh, this is your tertiary guy, this is your primary guy, this is your secondary guy, whatever it is that calls for a different tech how to play that. That'll be interesting to watch how Trey kind of manages those data points along the way.
Is there anything inside of that where you try to pick a defender who you want Kristaps guarding? Like, do you want him guarding somebody who's going to be mostly a corner shooter? Like, uh, you know, do you want like if there's a great rolling center, do you want Jalen guarding the center in certain like is there any way again it depends on the team, it depends on the night, but do you
Yeah,
anticipate any well, if we can get this kind of game against this style of team, maybe the best way to use Kristaps is to do, fill in the blank with
yeah,
whatever you want to say
yeah. I
here.
mean, not an NBA coach. Always like to say that, right? Never been one. Will never be one. I mean, I don't want Kristaps up the floor if I can help it. If I can play it that way. If you got Kristaps on with the Congo, I want Congo up the floor. You got him on Jalen, I want Jalen up the floor. The exceptions are you're trying to deal with Zubac, right? I mean, dude, that dude is strong. He's so strong. Like you have to like catch him before he starts his movement towards the rim, or you're done. I mean, you have no shot at like that. Jokic, similar thing. Jokic will stay in the perimeter more, but it depends on the other center, for sure.
All right. Well, we need a bigger sample size. We don't have a huge sample size yet, so we'll get another game Thursday and then it's the real thing. And I appreciate you guys joining me, and I guess we just say goodnight, Bob.
Good night, Bob.
Right, Bob?